Gareth and Lynette. Alfred Lord Tennyson, the last tall son of Lot in Bellisand, and tallest, Gareth, in a showerful spring stared at the spate. A slender shafted pine lost footing, fell, and so was whirled away. How he went down, said Gareth, as a false knight or evil king before my lance. If lance were mine to use, O senseless cataract, bearing all down in thy precipitancy dash. And yet thou art but swollen with cold snows, and mine is living blood. Thou dost his will, the maker's, and not knowest, and I that know, have strength and wit, in my good mother's hall linger with vacillating obedience, prisoned, and kept and coaxed and whistled to dash, since the good mother holds me still a child. Good mother is bad mother unto me. A worse were better. Yet no worse would I have and yield her for it, but in me put force to weary her ears with one continuous prayer, until she let me fly discaged to sweep in ever he garing eagle circles up to the great sun of glory, and then swoop down upon all things base, and dash them dead, a knight of Arthur, working out his will, to cleanse the world. Why, Gawain, when he came with Modred hither in the summer-time, asked me to tilt with him, the proven knight. Modred for want of worthier was the judge. Then I so shook him in the saddle, he said, Amperson quo. Thou hast half prevailed against me, Amperson quo. Said so he dashed, though Modred biting his thin lips was mute, for he is always sullen. What care I? And Gareth went, and hovering round her chair asked, Mother, though ye count me still the child, sweet mother, do ye love the child? She laughed. Thou art but a wild goose to question it. Then, mother, and ye love the child, he said, being a goose and rather tame than wild, hear the child's story. Yea, my well-beloved, and 'twere but of the goose and golden eggs. And Gareth answered her with kindling eyes, Nay, nay, good mother, but this egg of mine was finer gold than any goose can lay. For this an eagle, a royal eagle, laid almost beyond our reach, on such a palm as glitters gilded in thy book of hours. And there was ever haunting round the palm a lusty youth, but poor, who often saw the splendor sparkling from aloft, and thought Amperson quo. And I could climb and lay my hand upon it, then were I wealthier than a leash of kings. Amperson quo. But ever when he reached a hand to climb, one, that had loved him from his childhood, caught and stayed him. Amperson quo. Climb not lest thou break thy neck, I charge thee by my love, Amperson quo. And so the boy, sweet mother, neither climb, nor break his neck, but break his very heart in pining for it, and passed away. To whom the mother said, True love, sweet son, had risked himself and climbed, and handed down the golden treasure to him. And Gareth answered her with kindling eyes, Gold? Said I gold? Then, why he, or she, or whosoe'er it was, or half the world had ventured had the thing I spake of been mere gold. But this was all of that true steel, whereof they forged the brand Excalibur, and lightnings played about it in the storm, and all the little fowl were flurried at it, and there were cries and clashings in the nest, that sent him from his senses. Let me go. Then Bellisand bemoaned herself and said, Hast thou no pity upon my loneliness? Lo, where thy father Lot beside the hearth lies like a log, and all but smouldered out. For ever since when traitor to the king he fought against him in the Barons' War, and Arthur gave him back his territory, his age hath slowly dropped, and now lies there a yet warm corpse, and yet unburiable, no more. Nor sees, nor hears, nor speaks, nor knows. And both thy brethren are in Arthur's hall, albeit neither loved with that full love I feel for thee, nor worthy such a love. Stay therefore thou. Red berries charm the bird, and thee, mine innocent, the joss, the wars, who never knewest finger ache, nor pang of wrenched or broken limb, and often chance in those brain-sunning shocks, and tourney falls, frights to my heart. But stay, follow the deer by these tall firs and our fast-falling burns. So make thy manhood mightier day by day. Sweet is the chase, and I will seek thee out some comfortable bright and fair, to grace thy climbing life, and cherish my prone year, till falling into Lot's forgetfulness I know not thee, myself, nor anything. Stay, my best son. Ye are yet more boy than man. Then Gareth, an ye hold me yet for child, hear yet once more the story of a child. For, mother, there was once a king, like ours. The prince's heir, one tall and marriageable, asked for a bride. And thereupon the king set two before him. One was fair, strong, armed but to be won by force, and many men desired her. One good lack, no man desired. And these were the conditions of the king, that save he won the first by force, he needs must wed that other, whom no man desired, a red-faced bride who knew herself so vile, that evermore she longed to hide herself, nor fronted man or woman, eye to eye. Yea, some she cleaved to, but they died of her. And one they called her Fame. And one, O mother, how can ye keep me tethered to your shame? Man am I grown, a man's work must I do. Follow the dear? Follow the Christ, the King, live pure, speak true, right wrong, follow the King. Else, wherefore born? To whom the mother said, Sweet son, for there be many who deem him not, or will not deem him, wholly proven king. Albeit in mine own heart I knew him king, when I was frequent with him in my youth, and heard him kingly speak, and doubted him no more than he, himself. But felt him mine, of closest kin to me, yet wilt thou leave thine easeful biding here, and risk thine all, life, limbs, for one that is not proven king? Stay, till the cloud that settles round his birth hath lifted but a little. Stay, sweet son. And Gareth answered quickly, Not an hour, so that ye yield me I will walk through fire, mother, to gain at your full leave to go. Not proven, who swept the dust of ruined Rome from off the threshold of the realm, and crushed the idolaters, and made the people free? Who should be king save him who makes us free? So when the queen, who long had sought in vain to break him from the intent to which he grew, found her son's will unwaveringly won, she answered craftily, Will ye walk through fire? Who walks through fire will hardly heed the smoke. Go then, and ye must, only one proof, before thou ask the king to make thee knight, of thine obedience and thy love to me, thy mother, I demand. And Gareth cried, A hard one, or 100, so I go. Nay, quick. The proof to prove me to the quick. But slowly spake the mother, looking at him, Prince, thou shalt go disguised to Arthur's hall, and hire thyself to serve for meats and drinks among the scullions and the kitchen knaves, and those that hand the dish across the bar. Nor shalt thou tell thy name to anyone. And thou shalt serve a 12-month in a day. For so the queen believed that when her son beheld his only way to glory lead low down through villain kitchen vassalage, her own true Gareth was too princely proud to pass thereby. So should he rest with her, closed in her castle from the sound of arms. Silent a while was Gareth, then replied, The thrall in person may be free in soul, and I shall see the joss. Thy son am I, and since thou art my mother, must obey. I therefore yield me freely to thy will. For hence will I, disguised, and hire myself to serve with scullions and with kitchen knaves. Nor tell my name to any, no, not the king. Gareth awhile lingered. The mother's eye full of the wistful fear that he would go, and turning toward him wheresoe'er he turned, perplexed his outward purpose, till an hour, when wakened by the wind which with full voice swept bellowing through the darkness unto dawn, he rose, and out of slumber calling two that still had tended on him from his birth, before the wakeful mother heard him, went. The three were clad like tillers of the soil. Southward they set their faces. The birds made melody on branch, and melody in mid-air. The damp hill slopes were quickened into green, and the live green had kindled into flowers, for it was past the time of Easter Day. So, when their feet were planted on the plain that broadened toward the base of Camelot, far off they saw the silver misty morn rolling her smoke about the royal mound, that rose between the forest and the field. At times the summit of the high city flashed. At times the spires and turrets halfway down pricked through the mist. At times the great gate shone only, that opened on the field below. Anon, the whole fair city had disappeared. Then those who went with Gareth were amazed, one crying, Let us go no further, Lord. Here is a city of enchanters, built by fairy kings. The second echoed him, Lord, we have heard from our wise man at home to northward, that this king is not the king, but only changeling out of fairyland, who drave the heathen hence by sorcery and Merlin's glamour. Then the first again, Lord, there is no such city anywhere, but all a vision. Gareth answered then with laughter, swearing he'd Glamorano in his own blood, his princeedom, youth and hopes, to plunge old Merlin in the Arabian Sea. So pushed them all unwilling toward the gate. And there was no gate like it under heaven. For barefoot on the keystone, which was lined and rippled like an ever-fleeting wave, the Lady of the Lake stood, all her dress wept from her sighs as water flowing away. But like the cross her great and goodly arms stretched under the cornice and upheld, and drops of water fell from either hand. And down from one a sword was hung, from one a censer, either worn with wind and storm. And o'er her breast floated the sacred fish. And in the space to left of her, and right, were Arthur's wars and weird devices done, new things and old co-twisted, as if time were nothing, so inveterately, that men were giddy gazing there. And over all high on the top were those three queens, the friends of Arthur, who should help him at his need. Then those with Gareth for so long a space stared at the figures, that at last it seemed the dragon bots and elvish emblemings began to move, seethe, twine and curl. They called to Gareth, "Lord, the gateway is alive." And Gareth likewise on them fixed his eyes so long, that even to him they seemed to move. Out of the city a blast of music pealed. Back from the gate started the three, to whom from out the roinder came an ancient man, long-bearded, saying, "Who be ye, my sons?" Then Gareth, "We be tillers of the soil, who leaving share and furrow come to see the glories of our king, but these, my men, your city moves so weirdly in the mist, doubt if the king be king at all, or come from fairyland. And whether this be built by magic, and by fairy kings and queens, or whether there be any city at all, or all a vision, and this music now hath scared them both, but tell thou these the truth." Then that old seer made answer playing on him and saying, "Son, I have seen the good ship sail keel upward, and mast downward, in the heavens, and solid turrets topsy-turvy in air, and here is truth. But an it please thee not, take thou the truth as thou hast told it me. For truly as thou sayest, a fairy king and fairy queens have built the city, son. They came from out a sacred mountain cleft toward the sunrise, each with harp in hand, and built it to the music of their harps. And, as thou sayest, it is enchanted, son, for there is nothing in it as it seems saving the king. Though some there be that hold the king a shadow, and the city real, yet take thou heed of him, for, so thou pass beneath this archway, then wilt thou become a thrall to his enchantments, for the king will bind thee by such vows, as is a shame a man should not be bound by, yet the which no man can keep. But, so thou dread to swear, pass not beneath this gateway, but abide without, among the cattle of the field. For an ye heard a music, like an o they are building still, seeing the city is built to music, therefore never built at all, and therefore built forever." Gareth spake angered, "Old master, reverence thine own beard that looks as white as utter truth, and seems well nigh as long as thou art statured tall. Why mockest thou the stranger that hath been to thee fair spoken?" But the seer replied, "Know ye not then the riddling of the bards? Ampersand quo. Confusion, and illusion, and relation, allusion, and occasion, and evasion and quo. I mock thee not but as thou mockest me, and all that see thee, for thou art not who thou seemest, but I know thee who thou art. And now thou goest up to mock the king, who cannot brook the shadow of any lie." Unmockingly the mocker and Dingier turned to the right, and passed along the plain. Whom Gareth looking after said, "My men, our one white lie sits like a little ghost here on the threshold of our enterprise. Let love be blamed for it, not she, nor I. Well, we will make amends." With all good cheer he spake and laughed, then entered with his twain Camelot, a city of shadowy palaces and stately, rich in emblem and the work of ancient kings who did their days in stone. Which Merlin's hand, the midget Arthur's court, knowing all arts, had touched, and everywhere at Arthur's ordinance, tipped with lessening peak and pinnacle, and had made it spire to heaven. And ever and anon a knight would pass outward, or inward to the hall, his arms clashed, and the sound was good to Gareth's ear. And out of bower and casement shyly glanced eyes of pure women, wholesome stars of love. And all about a healthful people stepped as in the presence of a gracious king. Then into hall Gareth ascending heard a voice, the voice of Arthur, and beheld far overheads in that long vaulted hall the splendor of the presence of the king throned, and delivering doom, and looked no more at but felt his young heart hammering in his ears, and thought, for this half shadow of a lie the truthful king will doom me when I speak. Yet pressing on, though all in fear to find Sir Gawain or Sir Modred, saw nor one nor other, but in all the listening eyes of those tall knights, that ranged about the throne, clear honor shining like the dewy star of dawn, and faith in their great king, with pure affection, and the light of victory, and glory gained, and evermore to gain. Then came a widow crying to the king, "A boon, Sir King. Thy father, Uther, reft from my dead lord afield with violence, for howsoe'er at first he proffered gold, yet, for the field was pleasant in our eyes, we yielded not. And then he reft us of it perforce, and left us neither gold nor field." Said Arthur, "Whether would ye? Gold or field?" To whom the woman weeping, "Nay, my lord, the field was pleasant in my husband's eye." And Arthur, "Have thy pleasant field again, and thrice the gold for Uther's use thereof, according to the years. No boon is here, but justice, so thy say be proven true. Accursed, who from the wrongs his father did would shape himself aright." And while she passed, came yet another widow crying to him, "A boon, Sir King. Thine enemy, King, am I with thine own hand thou slewest my dear lord, a knight of Uther in the Barons' war, when Lot and many another rose and fought against thee, saying thou wert basely born. I held with these, and loath to ask thee aught. Yet lo, my husband's brother had my son thralled in his castle, and hath starved him dead, and standeth seized of that inheritance which thou that slewest the sire hast left the son. So though I scarce can ask it thee for hate, grant me some knight to do the battle for me, kill the foul thief, and wreak me for my son." Thence rode a good knight forward, crying to him, "A boon, Sir King. I am her kinsman, I give me to right her wrong, and slay the man." Then came Sir Kay, the seneschal, and cried, "A boon, Sir King. Even that thou grant her none, this failer, that hath mocked thee in full hall none, or the wholesome boon of jive and gag. But Arthur, we sit king, to help the wronged through all our realm. The woman loves her lord. Peace to thee, woman, with thou loves and hates. The kings of old had doomed thee to the flames, Aurelius Emery's would have scourged thee dead, and Uther slit thy tongue, but get thee hence lest that rough humor of the kings of old return upon me. Thou that art her kin, go likewise. Lay him low and slay him not, but bring him here, that I may judge the right, according to the justice of the king. Then, be he guilty, by that deathless king who lived and died for men, the man shall die." Then came in hall the messenger of Mark, a name of evil savor in the land, the Cornish king. In either hand he bore what dazzled all, and shone far off as shines a field of charlock in the sudden sun between two showers, a cloth of palest gold, which down he laid before the throne, and knelt, delivering, that his lord, the vassal king, was even upon his way to Camelot. For having heard that Arthur of his grace had made his goodly cousin, Tristram, knight, and, for himself was of the greater state, being a king, he trusted his liege lord would yield him this large honor all the more. So prayed him well to accept this cloth of gold, in token of true heart and fealty. Then Arthur cried to rend the cloth, to rend in pieces, and so cast it on the hearth. An oak tree smoldered there. The goodly knight. What? Shall the shield of Mark stand among these? For, midway down the side of that long hall a stately pile, were along the front, some blazoned, some but carven, and some blank, there ran a treble range of stony shields, rose, and high arching overbrowed the hearth. And under every shield a knight was named, for this was Arthur's custom in his hall. When some good knight had done one noble deed, his arms were carven only. But if twain his arms were blazoned also. But if none, the shield was blank and bare without a sign saving the name beneath. And Gareth saw the shield of Gawain blazoned rich and bright, and Modred's blank as death. And Arthur cried to rend the cloth and cast it on the hearth. More like are we to reave him of his crown than make him knight because men call him king. The kings we found, ye know we stayed their hands from war among themselves, but left them kings, of whom were any bounteous, merciful, truth-speaking, brave, good livers, them we enrolled among us, and they sit within our hall. But as Mark hath tarnished the great name of king, as Mark would sully the low state of churl, and, seeing he hath sent us cloth of gold, return, and meat, and hold him from our eyes, lest we should lap him up in cloth of lead, silenced forever craven a man of plots, craft, poisonous counsels, wayside ambushings. No fault of thine, let the seneschal look to thy wants, and send thee satisfied. Accursed, who strikes nor lets the hand be seen. And many another suppliant crying came with noise of ravage wrought by beast and man, and evermore a knight would ride away. Last, Gareth, leaning both hands heavily down on the shoulders of the twain, his men, approached between them toward the king, and asked, a boon, Sir King. His voice was all ashamed, for see ye not how weak and hunger-worn I seem leaning on these? Grant me to serve for meat and drink among thy kitchen knaves a 12 month and a day, nor seek my name. Hereafter I will fight. To him the king, a goodly youth and worth a goodlier boon. But so thou wilt no goodlier, then must the master of the meats and drinks, be thine. He rose and passed. Then a man of mean wan sallow as the plant that feels itself root bitten by white lichen, lo ye now. This fellow hath broken from some abbey, where, God wot, he had not beef and brew as eno, however that might chance. But an he work, like any pigeon will I cram his crop, and sleeker shall he shine than any hog. Then Lancelot standing near, Sir Seneschal, sleuth hound thou knowest, and grey, and all the hounds. A horse thou knowest, a man thou dost not know, broad brows and fair, a fluent hair and fine, high nose, a nostril large and fine, and hands large, fair and fine. Some young lad's mystery. But, or from sheepcote or king's hall, the boy is noble-natured. Treat him with all grace, lest he should come to shame thy judging of him. Then what murmurest thou of mystery? Think ye this fellow will poison the king's dish? Nay, for he spake too fool-like, mystery. Tut, and the lad were noble, he had asked for horse and armor, fair and fine, forsooth. Sir fine face, sir fair hands? But see thou to it that thine own fineness, Lancelot, some fine day under thee not, and leave my man to me. So Gareth all for glory underwent the sooty yoke of kitchen vassalage. Ate with young lads his portion by the door, and couched at night with grimy kitchen knaves. And Lancelot ever spake unpleasantly, but the seneschal, who loved him not, would hustle and harry him, and labour him beyond his comrade of the hearth, and set to turn the broach, draw water, or hew wood, or grosser tasks. And Gareth bowed himself with all obedience to the king, and wrought all kind of service with the noble ease that graced the lowliest act in doing it. And when the thralls had talk among themselves, and one would praise the love that linked the king and Lancelot, how the king had saved his life in battle twice, and Lancelot once the king's for Lancelot was the first in tournament, but Arthur mightiest on the battlefield. Gareth was glad. Or if some other told, how once the wandering forester at dawn, far over the blue tarns and hazy seas, on Carire's highest found the king, a naked babe, of whom the prophet spake, single quote: he passes to the Isle of Ilion, he passes and is healed and cannot die. Gareth was glad. But if their talk were foul, then would he whistle rapid as any lark, or carol some old roundelay, and so loud at first they mocked, but, after, reverenced him. Or Gareth telling some prodigious tale of knights, who sliced a red life bubbling way through 20 folds of twisted dragon, held all in a gap-mouthed circle, his good mates lying or sitting round him, idle hands, charmed, till Sir the seneschal, would come blustering upon them, like a sudden wind among dead leaves, and drive them all apart. Or when the thralls had sport among themselves, so there were any trial of mastery, he, by 2 yards in casting bar or stone, was counted best. And if there chanced a just, so that Sir nodded him leave to go, would hurry thither, and when he saw the knights clash like the coming and retiring wave, and the spear spring, and good horse reel, the boy was half beyond himself for ecstasy. So for a month he wrought among the thralls. But in the weeks that followed, the good queen, repentant of the words she made him swear, and suddening in her childless castle, send, between the increscent and decrescent moon, arms for her son, and loosed him from his vow. This, Gareth hearing from a squire of Lot with whom he used to play at tourney once, when both were children, and lonely haunts would scratch a ragged oval on the sand, and each at either dash from either end dash shame never made girl better than Gareth joy. He laughed. He sprang out of the smoke. At once I leap from Satan's foot to Peter's knee dash these news be mine, none others nay, the king's dash descend into the city, whereon he sought the king alone, and found, and told him all. I have staggered thy strong Godwin in a tilt for pastime. Yea, he said it, just can I make me thy knight in secret. Let my name be hidden, and give me the first quest. I sprang like flame from ashes. Here the king's calm I fell on, and checked, and made him flesh, and bow lowly, to kiss his hand, who answered him, Son, the good mother let me know thee here, and sent her wish that I would yield thee thine. Make thee my knight? My knights are sworn to vows of utter hardihood, utter gentleness, and, loving, utter faithfulness in love, and uttermost obedience to the king. Then Gareth, lightly springing from his knees, My king, for hardihood I can promise thee. For uttermost obedience make demand of whom ye gave me to, the seneschal, no mellow master of the meats and drinks. And as for love, God wot, I love not yet, but love I shall, God willing. And the king make thee my knight in secret? Yea, but he, our noblest brother, and our truest man, and one with me in all, he needs must know. Let Lancelot know, my king, let Lancelot know, thy noblest and thy truest. And the king dash but wherefore would ye men should wonder at you? Nay, rather for the sake of me, their king, and the deed's sake my knighthood do the deed, than to be noised of. Merrily Gareth asked, Have I not earned my cake and baking of it? Let be my name until I make my name. My deeds will speak, it is but for a day. So with a kindly hand on Gareth's arm smiled the great king, and half unwillingly loving his lusty youthhood yielded to him. Then, after summoning Lancelot privily, I have given him the first quest, he is not proven. Look therefore when he calls for the sin hall, thou get to horse and follow him far away. Cover the lions on thy shield, and see far as thou mayest, he be nor taught and nor slain. Then that same day there passed into the hall a damsel of high lineage, and a brow may blossom, and a cheek of apple blossom, hawk eyes. And lightly was her slender nose tip tilted like the petal of a flower. She into hall passed with her page and cried, O king, for thou hast driven the foe without, see to the foe within. Bridge, fort, beset by bandits, everyone that owns a tower the lord for half a league. Why sit ye there? Rest would I not, Sir King, an I were king, till even the lonest hold were alls free from cursed bloodshed, as thine altar cloth from that best blood it is a sin to spill. Comfort thyself, said Arthur. I nor mine rest, so my knighthood keep the vows they swore, the wastest moorland of our realm shall be safe, damsel, as the center of this hall. What is thy name? Thy need? My name? She said Lynette my name. Noble. My need, a knight to combat for my sister, Lyoners, a lady of high lineage, of great lands, and comely, yea, and comelier than myself. She lives in Castle Perilous, a river runs in 3 loops about her living place, and o'er it are 3 passings, and 3 knights defend the passings, brethren, and the 4th and of that for the mightiest, holds her state in her own castle, and so besieges her to break her will, and make her wed with him, and but delays his purport till thou sent to do the battle with him, thy chief man Sir Lancelot, whom he trusts to overthrow, then wed, with glory, but she will not wed save whom she loveth, or a holy life. Now therefore have I come for Lancelot. Then Arthur mindful of Sir Gareth asked, Damsel, ye know this order lives to crush all wrongers of the realm. But say, these 4, who be they? What the fashion of the men? They be of foolish fashion, O Sir King, the fashion of that old knight errantry who ride abroad, and do but what they will. Courteous or bestial from the moment, such as have nor law nor king. And 3 of these proud in their fantasy call themselves the day, morning star, and noon sun, and evening star, being strong fools. And never a whit more wise the 4th, who alway rideth armed in black, a huge man beast of boundless savagery. He names himself the knight and oftener death, and wears a helmet mounted with a skull, and bears a skeleton figured on his arms, to show that who may slay or escape the three, slain by himself, shall enter endless night. And all these four be fools, but mighty men, and therefore am I come for Lancelot. Hereat Sir Gareth called from where he rose, a head with kindling eyes above the throng, aboon, Sir King, this quest. Then for he marked near him groaning like a wounded bull, Dashia, King, thou knowest thy kitchen knave am I, and mighty through thy meats and drinks am I, and I can topple over 100 such. Thy promise, King. And Arthur, glancing at him, brought down a momentary brow. Rough, sudden, and pardonable, worthy to be knight. Go therefore, and all hearers were amazed. But on the damsel's forehead shame, pride, wrath slew the May White. She lifted either arm. Fie on thee, King. I asked for thy chief knight, and thou hast given me but a kitchen knave. Then ere a man in hall could stay her, turned, fled down the lane of access to the king, took horse, descended the slope street, and passed the weird white gate, and paused without, beside the field of tourney, murmuring kitchen knave. Now two great entries opened from the hall, at one end one, that gave upon a range of level pavement where the king would pace at sunrise, gazing over plain and wood. And down from this a lordly stairway slipped till lost in blowing trees and tops of towers. And out by this main doorway passed the king. But one was counter to the hearth, and rose high that the highest crested helm could ride the rune or graze, and by this entry fled the damsel in her wrath, and unto this Sir Gareth strode, and saw without the door King Arthur's gift, the worth of half a town, a war-horse of the best, and near it stood the two that out of north had followed him, this bare a maiden shield, a casque, that held the horse, the spear. Whereat Sir Gareth loosed a cloak that dropped from collar bone to heel, a cloth of roughest web, and cast it down, and from it like a fuel-smothered fire, that looked half dead, brake bright, and flashed as those dull-coated things, that making slide apart their dusk-wing cases, all beneath their burns a jewelled harness, ere they pass and fly. So Gareth ere he parted flashed in arms. Then as he donned the helm, and took the shield and mounted horse and grasped the spear, of grain storm strengthened on a windy sight, and tipped with trenchant steel, around him slowly pressed the people, while from out of kitchen came the thralls in throng, and seeing who had worked lustier than any, and whom they could but love, mounted in arms, threw up their caps and cried, God bless the king, and all his fellowship. And on through lanes of shouting Gareth rode down the slope street, and passed without the gate. So Gareth passed with joy. But as the cur plucked from the cur he fights with, ere his cause be cooled by fighting, follows, being named, his honor, but remembers all, and growls remembering, so Sir Kay beside the door muttered in scorn of Gareth, whom he used to harry and hustle. Bound upon a quest with horse and arms the king hath passed his time. My scullion knave. Thralls, to your work again, for in your fire below ye kindle mine. Will there be dawn in west and even east? Begone. My knave. Belike and like I know some old head blow not heeded in his youth, so shook his wits they wander in his prime. Crazed. How the villain lifted up his voice, nor shamed to bawl himself a kitchen knave. Tut, he was tame and meek enow with me, till he cooked up with Lancelot's noticing. Well, I will after my loud knave, and learn whether he know me for his master yet. Out of the smoke he came, and so my lands hold, by God's grace, he shall into the mire thence, if the king awaken from his craze, into the smoke again. But Lancelot said, Kay, wherefore wilt thou go against the king, for that did never he whereon ye rail, but ever meekly serve the king and thee? Abide, take counsel. For this lad is great and lusty, and knowing both of lance and sword. Tut, tell not me, said Kay, why ye are overfine to mar stout knaves with foolish courtesies. Then mounted, on through silent faces rode down the slope city, and out beyond the gate. But by the field of tourney lingering yet muttered the damsel, wherefore did the king scorn me? For, were Sir Lancelot lacked, at least he might have yielded to me one of those who tilt for ladies' love and glory here, rather than oh sweet heaven. Oh fie upon him, his kitchen knave. To whom Sir Gareth drew, and there were none but few goodlier than he, shining in arms, damsel, the quest is mine. Led, and I follow. She tarried, as one that smells of foul flesh the garrick in the hold, and deems it carrion of some woodland thing, or shrew, or weasel, nipped her slender nose with petulant thumb and finger, shrilling, hence. Avoid, thou smellest all of kitchen grease. And look who comes behind, for there was Kay. Knowest thou not me? Thy master? I am Kay. We lack thee by the hearth. Am Gareth to him, master no more. Too well I know thee, the most ungentle knight in Arthur's hall. Have at thee then, said Kay. They shocked, and Kay fell shoulder slipped, and Gareth cried again, lead, and I follow. And fast away she fled. But after sod and shingle ceased to fly behind her, and the heart of her good horse was nigh to burst with violence of the beat, perforce she stayed, and overtaken spoke. What dost thou, scullion, in my fellowship? Deemest thou that I accept thee aught the more or love thee better, that by some device full cowardly, or by mere unhappiness, thou hast overthrown and slain thy master thou? Dishwasher and brooch turner, loon. To me thou smellest all of kitchen as before. Damsel, Sir Gareth answered gently, say whate'er ye will, but whatsoe'er ye say, I leave not till I finish this fair quest, or die therefore. Wilt thou finish it? Sweet lord, how like a noble knight he talks. The listening rogue hath caught the manner of it. But, knave, anon thou shalt be met with, knave, and then by such a one that thou for all the kitchen brewest that was ever souped shalt not once dare to look him in the face. I shall essay, said Gareth with a smile that maddened her, and away she flashed again down the long avenues of a boundless wood, and Gareth following was again benaved. Sir kitchen knave, I have missed the only way where Arthur's men are set along the wood. The wood is nigh as full of thieves as leaves, if both be slain, I am rid of thee. But yet, Sir Scullion, canst thou use that spit of thine? Fight, and thou canst, I have missed the only way. So till the dusk that followed Evensong rode on the two, reviler and reviled. Then after one long slope was mounted, saw, bowl-shaped, through tops of many thousand pines a gloomy gladed hollow slowly sink to westward in the deeps whereof a mere, round as the red eye of an eagle owl, under the half-dead sunset glared. And shouts ascended, and there brake a servingman flying from out of the black wood, and crying, they have bound my lord to cast him in the mere. Then Gareth, bound am I to right the wronged, but straightlier bound am I to bide with thee. And when the damsel spake contemptuously, lead, and I follow, Gareth cried again, follow, I lead. So down among the pines he plunged. And there, black-shadowed nigh the mere, and mid-thigh deep in bulrushes and reed, saw 6 tall men haling a 7th along, a stone about his neck to drown him in it. 3 with good blows he quieted, but 3 fled through the pines. And Gareth loosed the stone from off his neck, then in the mere beside tumbled it. Oilily bubbled up the mere. Last, Gareth loosed his bonds and on free feet set him, a stalwart baron, Arthur's friend. Well that ye came, or else these caitiff rogues had wreaked themselves on me. Good cause is theirs to hate me, for my wont hath ever been to catch my thief, and then like vermin here drown him, and with a stone about his neck. And under this wan water many of them lie rotting, but at night let go the stone, and rise, and flickering in a grimly light dance on the mere. Good now, ye have saved a life worth somewhat as the cleanser of this wood. And fain would I reward thee worshipfully. What good done will ye? Gareth sharply spake, Nony. For the deed's sake have I done the deed, in uttermost obedience to the king. But wilt thou yield this damsel harbourage? Whereat the baron saying, I well believe you be of Arthur's table, a light laugh broke from Lynette, truly of a truth, and in a sort, being Arthur's kitchen knave. But deem not I accept thee aught the more, scullion, for running sharply with thy spit down on a rout of craven foresters. A thresher with his flail had scattered them. Nay, for thou smellest of the kitchen still. But an this lord will yield us harbourage, well. So she spake. A league beyond the wood, all in a full fair manner and a ridge, his towers where that day a feast had been held in high hall, and many a viand left, and many a costly cate, received 3. And there they placed a peacock in his pride before the damsel, and the baron set Gareth beside her, but at once she rose. "Meseems, that here is much discourtesy, setting this knave, Lord Baron, at my side. Hear me this morn I stood in Arthur's hall, and prayed the king would grant me Lancelot to fight the brotherhood of day and night. The last a monster unsubduable of any save of him for whom I called. Suddenly bawls this frontless kitchen knave, ampersand quo. The quest is mine. Thy kitchen knave am I, and mighty through thy meats and drinks am I, ampersand quo. Then Arthur all at once gone mad replies, ampersand quo. Go therefore, ampersand quo. And so gives the quest to him. Him here a villain fitter to Styx wine than ride abroad redressing women's wrong, or sit beside a noble gentlewoman. Then half ashamed and part amazed, the lord now looked at one and now at other, left the damsel by the peacock in his pride, and, seating Gareth at another board, sat down beside him, ate and then began. Friend, whether thou be kitchen knave, or not, or whether it be the maiden's fantasy, and whether she be mad, or else the king, or both or neither, or thyself be mad, I ask not, but thou strikest a strong stroke, for strong thou art and goodly therewithal, and savor of my life. And therefore now, for here be mighty men to joust with, weigh whether thou wilt not with thy damsel back to crave against Sir Lancelot of the king. Thy pardon. I but speak for thine avail, the savor of my life. And Gareth said, full pardon, but I follow up the quest, despite of day and night and death and hell. So when, next morn, the Lord whose life he saved had, some brief space, conveyed them on their way and left them with Godspeed, Sir Gareth spake, lead, and I follow. Haughtily she replied, I fly no more, I allow thee for an hour. Lion and stout have us led together, knave, in time of flood. Nay, furthermore, methinks some ruth is mine for thee. Back wilt thou, fool? For hard by here is one will overthrow and slay thee, then will I to court again, and shame the king for only yielding me my champion from the ashes of his hearth. To whom Sir Gareth answered courteously, say thou thy say, and I will do my deed. Allow me for mine hour, and thou wilt find my fortunes all as fair as hers who lay among the ashes and wedded the king's son. Then to the shore of one of those long loops her through the Serpent River coiled, they came. Rough thicketed were the banks and steep. The stream full, narrow. This a bridge of single arc took at a leap. And on the further side arose a silk pavilion, gay with golden streaks and rays, and all lent lilian hue, save that the dome was purple, and above, crimson, a slender banneret fluttering. And thorough before the lawless warrior paced unarmed, and calling, Damsel, is this he, the champion thou hast brought from Arthur's hall? For whom we let thee pass? Nay, nay, she said, Sere Morning Star. The king in utter scorn of thee and thy much folly hath sent thee here his kitchen knave, and look thou to thyself, see that he fall not on thee suddenly, and slay thee unarmed, he is not knight but knave. Then at his call, O daughters of the dawn, and servants of the morning star, approach, arm me. From out the silken curtain folds barefooted and bareheaded 3 fair girls in gilt and rosy raiment came, their feet in dewy grasses glistened, and the hair all over glanced with dewdrop or with gem-like sparkles in the stone of Venturin. These armed him in blue arms, and gave a shield blue also, and thereon the morning star. And Gareth silent gazed upon the knight, who stood a moment, ere his horse was brought, glorying. And in the stream beneath him, shone mingled with heaven's azure waveringly, the gay pavilion and the naked feet, his arms, the rosy raiment, and the star. Then she that watched him, wherefore stare ye so? Thou shakest in thy fear, there yet is time, flee down the valley before he get to horse. Who will cry shame? Thou art not knight but knave. Said Gareth, Damsel, whether knave or knight, far liefer had I fight a score of times than hear thee so missay me and revile. Fair words were best for him who fights for thee. But truly foul are better, for they send that strength of anger through mine arms. I know that I shall overthrow him. And he that bore the star, when mounted, cried from o'er the bridge, a kitchen knave, and sent in scorn of me. Such fight not I, but answer scorn with scorn. For this were shame to do him further wrong than set him on his feet, and take his horse and arms, and so return him to the king. Come, therefore, leave thy lady lightly, Knave. Avoid, for it beseemeth not a knave to ride with such a lady. Dog, thou liest. I spring from loftier lineage than thine own. He spake, and all at fiery speed the two shocked on the central bridge, and either spear bent but not brake, and either knight at once, hurled as a stone from out of a catapult beyond his horse's crupper, and the bridge fell, as if dead. But quickly rose and drew, and Gareth lashed so fiercely with his brand he drave his enemy backward down the bridge, the damsel crying, "Well stricken, kitchen knave!" till Gareth's shield was cloven. But one stroke laid him that clove it grovelling on the ground. Then cried the fallen, "Take not my life, I yield." And Gareth, "So this damsel ask it of me, good I accord it easily as a grace." She reddening, "Insolent scullion, I of thee? I bound to thee for any favour asked. Then he shall die." And Gareth there unlaced his helmet as to slay him, but she shrieked, "Be ye not so hardy, scullion, as to slay one nobler than thyself. Damsel, thy charge is an abounding pleasure to me. Knight, thy life is thine at her command. Arise and quickly pass to Arthur's hall, and say his kitchen knave hath sent thee. See thou crave his pardon for thy breaking of his laws. Myself, when I return, will plead for thee. Thy shield is mine, farewell. And, damsel, thou, led, and I follow." And fast away she fled. Then when he came upon her, spake, "Methought, knave, when I watched thee striking on the bridge, the savour of thy kitchen came upon me a little faintlier, but the wind hath changed, I sent it 20-fold." And then she sang, "Ampersand quo! O morning star, and quo! Not that tall felon there whom thou by sorcery or unhappiness or some device, hast fully overthrown, ampersand quo! O morning star that smilest in the blue, O star, my morning dream hath proven true, smile sweetly, thou. My love hath smiled on me. Ampersand quo! But thou begone, take counsel, and away, for hard by here is one that guards a fort. The second brother in their fool's parable will pay thee all thy wages, and to boot. Care not for shame, thou art not knight but knave." To whom Sir Gareth answered, laughingly, "Parables? Hear a parable of the knave. When I was kitchen knave among the rest, fierce was the hearth, and one of my co-mates owned a rough dog, to whom he cast his coat, ampersand quo! Guard it, ampersand quo! And there was none to meddle with it. And such a coat art thou, and thee the king gave me to guard, and such a dog am I, to worry, and not to flee. And knight or knave the knave that doth thee service as full knight is all as good, meseems, as any knight toward thy sister's freeing. Sir knave. Knave, because thou strikest as a knight, being but knave, I hate thee all the more. Fair damsel, you should worship me the more, that, being but knave, I throw thine enemies. She said, but thou shalt meet thy match. So when they touched the second river loop, huge on a huge red horse, and all in mail burnished to blinding, shone the noonday sun beyond a raging shallow. As if the flower, that blows a globe of after arrowlets, 10,000-fold had grown, flashed the fierce shield, all sun. And Gareth's eyes had flying blots before them when he turned from watching him. He from beyond the roaring shallow roared, "What dost thou, brother, in my marches here?" And she athwart the shallow shrilled again, "Here is a kitchen knave from Arthur's hall hath overthrown thy brother, and hath his arms." Cried the sun, and was oaring up a red and cipher face of rounded foolishness, pushed horse across the foamings of the ford, whom Gareth met midstream. No room was there for lance or tourney skill, 4 strokes they struck with sword, and these were mighty. The new knight had fear he might be shamed. But as the sun heaved up a ponderous arm to strike the 5th, the hoof of his horse slipped in the stream descended, and the sun was washed away. Then Gareth laid his lance athwart the ford. So drew him home. But he that fought no more, as being all bone battered on the rock, yielded. And Gareth sent him to the king, "Myself when I return will plead for thee. Lead, and I follow." Quietly she led. "Hath not the good wind, damsel, changed again?" "Nay, not a point, nor art thou victor here. There lies a ridge of slate across the ford. His horse thereon stumbled, for I saw it. Ampersand quo. O son and quo. Not this strong fool whom thou, sir knave, hast overthrown through mere unhappiness, ampersand quo. O sun, that wakenest all to bliss or pain, O moon, that layest all to sleep again, shine sweetly, twice my love hath smiled on me. Ampersand quo. What knowest thou of love's song or of love? Nay, nay, God, what, so thou wert nobly born, thou hast a pleasant presence. Yea, perchance, ampersand quo. O dewy flowers that open to the sun, O dewy flowers that close when day is done, blow sweetly, twice my love hath smiled on me. Ampersand quo. What knowest thou of flowers, except, belike, to garnish meats with? Hath not our good king who lent me thee, the flower of kitchendom, a foolish love for flowers? What stick ye round the pasty? Wherewith all deck the boar's head? Flowers. Nay, the boar hath rosemaries and bay. Ampersand quo. O birds, that warble to the morning sky, O birds that warble as the day goes by, sing sweetly, twice my love hath smiled on me. Ampersand quo. What knowest thou of birds, lark, mavis, merle, linnet? What dream ye when they utter forth May music growing with the growing light, their sweet sun worship? These be for the snare, so runs thy fancy, these be for the spit, larding and basting. See thou have not now larded thy last, except thou turn and fly. There stands the third fool of their allegory. For there beyond a bridge of treble bow, all in a rose red from the west, and all naked it seemed, and glowing in the broad deep dimpled current underneath, the knight, that named himself the Star of Evening, stood. And Gareth, wherefore waits the madman there naked in open day shine? Nay, she cried, not naked, only wrapped in hardened skins that fit him like his own. And so ye cleave his armor off him, these will turn the blade. Then the third brother shouted o'er the bridge, O brother star, why shine ye here so low? Thy ward is higher up, but have ye slain the damsel's champion? And the damsel cried, No star of thine close when day is done, blow sweetly, twice my love hath smiled on me. Ampersand quo. What knowest thou of flowers, except, belike, to garnish meats with? Hath not our good king who lent me thee, the flower of kitchendom, a foolish love for flowers? What stick ye round the pasty? Wherewith all deck the boar's head? Flowers. Nay, the boar hath rosemaries and bay. Ampersand quo. O birds, that warble to the morning sky, O birds that warble as the day goes by, sing sweetly, twice my love hath smiled on me. Ampersand quo. What knowest thou of birds, lark, mavis, merle, linnet? What dream ye when they utter forth May music growing with the growing light, their sweet sun worship? These be for the snare, so runs thy fancy, these be for the spit, larding and basting. See thou have not now larded thy last, except thou turn and fly. There stands the third fool of their allegory. For there beyond a bridge of treble bow, all in a rose red from the west, and all naked it seemed, and glowing in the broad deep dimpled current underneath, the knight, that named himself the Star of Evening, stood. And Gareth, wherefore waits the madman there naked in open day shine? Nay, she cried, not naked, only wrapped in hardened skins that fit him like his own. And so ye cleave his armor off him, these will turn the blade. Then the third brother shouted o'er the bridge, O brother star, why shine ye here so low? Thy ward is higher up, but have ye slain the damsel's champion? And the damsel cried, No star of thine, but shot from Arthur's heaven with all disaster unto thine and thee. For both thy younger brethren have gone down before this youth? And so wilt thou, Sir Star. Art thou not old? Old, damsel, old and hard, old, with the might and breath of 20 boys. Said Gareth, old, and overbold in brag. But that same strength which through the morning star can throw the evening. Then that other blew a hard and deadly note upon the horn. Approach and arm me. With slow steps from out an old storm-beaten, russet, many-stained pavilion, forth a grizzled damsel came, and armed him in old arms, and brought a helm with but a drying evergreen for crest, and gave a shield whereon the Star of Even half tarnished and half bright, his emblem, shone. but when it glittered o'er the saddle bow, they madly hurled together on the bridge. And Gareth overthrew him, lighted, drew, there met him drawn, and overthrew him again, but up like fire he started, and as oft as Gareth brought him grovelling on his knees, so many a time he vaulted up again, till Gareth panted hard, and his great heart, foredooming all his trouble was in vain, labored within him, for he seemed as one that all in later, satyr age begins to war against ill uses of a life, but these from all his life arise, and cry, Thou hast made us lords, and canst not put us down. He half despairs. So Gareth seemed to strike vainly, the damsel clamoring all the while, Well done, knave knight, well stricken, O good knight knave o knave, as noble as any of all the knights shame me not, shame me not. I have prophesied strike, thou art worthy of the table round his arms are old, he trusts the hardened skin strike the wind will never change again. And Gareth hearing ever stronglier smote, and hewed great pieces of his armor off him, but lashed in vain against the hardened skin, and could not wholly bring him under, more than loud southwesterns, rolling ridge on ridge, the buoy that rides at sea, and dips and springs forever, till at length Sir Gareth's brand clashed his, and brake it utterly to the hilt. I have thee now. But forth that other sprang, and, all unknightlike, writhed his wiry arms around him, till he felt, despite his mail, strangled, but straining even his uttermost cast, and so hurled him headlong o'er the bridge down to the river, sink or swim, and cried, Lead, and I follow. But the damsel said, I'll lead no longer. Ride thou at my side. Thou art the kingliest of all kitchen knaves. Amperson quo. O trefoil, sparkling on the rainy plain, O rainbow with 3 colors after rain, shine sweetly, thrice my love hath smiled on me. Amperson quo. Seer, and, good faith, I fain had added knight, but that I heard thee call thyself a knave, shamed am I that I so rebuked, reviled, me said thee. Noble I am, and thought the king scorned me and mine. And now thy pardon, friend, for thou hast ever answered courteously, and wholly bold thou art, and meek withal's any of Arthur's best, but, being knave, hast mazed my wit, I marvel what thou art. Damsel, he said, you be not all to blame, saving that you mistrusted our good king would handle scorn, or yield you, asking, one not fit to cope your quest. You said your say. Mine answer was my deed. Good sooth. I hold he scarce is knight, yea but half man, nor meet to fight for a gentle damsel, he, who lets his heart be stirred with any foolish heat at any gentle damsel's waywardness. Shamed? Care not. Thy foul sayings fought for me, and seeing now thy words are fair, methinks there rides no knight, not Lancelot, his great self, hath force to quell me. Nigh upon that hour when the lone hern forgets his melancholy, lets down his other leg, and stretching, dreams of goodly supper in the distant pool, then turned the noble damsel smiling at him, and told him of a cavern hard at hand, where bread and bacon meats and good red wine of Southland, which the Lady Lyoners had sent her coming champion, waited him. And they passed a narrow combe wherein were slabs of rock with figures, knights on horse sculptured, and decked in slowly waning hues. Seer knave, my knight, a hermit once was here, whose holy hand hath fashioned on the rock the war of time against the soul of man. And yon 4 fools have sucked their allegory from these damp walls, and taken but the form. Know ye not these? And Gareth looked and read in letters like to those the vexillary hath left crag carven o'er the streaming gilt phosphorus, then Merides, Hesperus, Nox, Mers, beneath 5 figures, armed men, slab after slab, their faces forward all, and running down the soul, a shape that fled with broken wings, torn raiment and loose hair, for help and shelter to the hermit's cave. Follow the faces, and we find it. Look, who comes behind. For one delayed at first through helping back the dislocated Quai to Camelot, then by what thereafter chanced, victualled? I gloried in my knave, who being still rebuked, would answer still courteous as any knight, but now, if knight, the marvel dies, and leaves me fooled and tricked, and only wondering wherefore played upon, and doubtful whether I and mine be scorned. Where should be truth if not in Arthur's hall, in Arthur's presence? Knight, knave, prince and fool, I hate thee and forever. And Lancelot said, Blessed be thou, Sir Gareth. Knight art thou to the king's best wish. O damsel, be you wise to call him shamed, who is but overthrown? Thrown have I been, not once, but many a time. Victor from vanquished issues at the last, an overthrower from being overthrown. With sword we have not striven, and thy good horse and thou are weary. Yet not less I felt thy manhood through that wearied lance of thine. Well hast thou done, for all the stream is freed, and thou hast wreaked his justice on his foes, and when reviled, hast answered graciously, and makest merry when overthrown. Prince, knight hail, knight and prince, and of our table round. And then when turning to Lynette he told the tale of Gareth. Petulantly she said, well, for worse than being fooled of others, is to fool one's self. A cave, Sir Lancelot, is hard by, with meats and drinks and forage for the horse, and flint for fire. But all about it flies a honeysuckle. Seek, till we find. And when they sought and found, Sir Gareth drank and ate, and all his life passed into sleep. On whom the maiden gazed. Sound sleep be thine. Sound cause to sleep hast thou. Wake lusty. Seem I not as tender to him as any mother? But such a one as all day long hath rated at her child, and vexed his day, but blesses him asleep. Good Lord, how sweetly smells the honeysuckle in the hushed night, as if the world were one of utter peace, and love, and gentleness. O Lancelot, Lancelot! And she clapped her hands. Full merry am I to find my goodly knave as knight and noble. See now, sworn have I, else yon black felon had not let me pass, to bring thee back to do the battle with him. Thus an thou goest, he will fight thee first. Who doubts thee, Victor? So will my knight knave miss the full flower of this accomplishment. Said Lancelot, peradventure he, you name, may know my shield. Let Gareth, and he will, change his for mine, and take my charger, fresh, not to be spurred, loving the battle as well as he that rides him. Lancelot like, she said, courteous in this, Lord Lancelot, as in all. And Gareth, wakening, fiercely clutched the shield. Ramp ye lance-splintering lions, on whom all spears are rotten sticks. Ye seem agape to roar. Yea, ramp and roar at leaving of your lord. Care not, good beasts, so will I care for you. O nobile Lancelot, from my hold on these streams virtue fire through one that will not shame even the shadow of Lancelot under shield. Hence, let us go. Silent the silent field they traversed. Arthur's harp those summer won, in counter-motion to the clouds, allure the glance of Gareth dreaming on his liege. A star shot, lo, said Gareth, the foe falls. An owl whooped, hark the victor pealing there. Suddenly she that rode upon his left clung to the shield that Lancelot lent him, crying, Yield him this again, 'tis he must fight. I curse the tongue that all through yesterday reviled thee, and hath wrought on Lancelot now to lend thee horse and shield. Wonders ye have done. Miracles ye cannot, here is glory enow and having flung the three, I see thee maimed, mangled, I swear thou canst not fling the fourth. And wherefore, damsel? Tell me all ye know. You cannot scare me. No rough face, or voice, brute bulk of limb, or boundless savagery appall me from the quest. Nay, prince, she cried, God what, I never looked upon the face, seeing he never rides abroad by day. But watched him have I like a phantom pass chilling the night, nor have I heard the voice. Always he made his mouthpiece of a page who came and went, and still reported him as closing in himself the strength of 10, and when his anger tarry him, massacring man, woman, lad and girl, yea, the soft babe. Some hold that he hath swallowed infant flesh, monster. O prince, I went for Lancelot first, the quest is Lancelot's, give him back the shield. Said Gareth laughing, and we fight for this, belike he wants it as the better man, thus and not else. But Lancelot on him urged all the devisings of their chivalry when one might meet a mightier than himself. How best to manage horse, lance, sword and shield, and so fill up the gap where force might fail with skill and fineness. Instant were his words. Then Gareth, here be rules. I know but one dash to dash against mine enemy and win. Yet have I seen thee victor in the just, and seen thy way. Heaven help thee, sighed Lynette. Then for a space, an undercloud that grew to thunder gloom palling all stars, they rode and conversed till she made her palfrey halt, lifted an arm, and softly whispered, there. And all the three were silent, seeing, pitched beside the castle perilous on flat field, a huge pavilion like a mountain peaks under the glooming crimson on the march, black, with black banner, and a long black horn beside it hanging, which Sir Gareth grasped, and so, before the two could hinder him, sent all his heart and breath through all the horn. Echoed the walls. A light twinkled. Anon came lights, and once again he blew, whereon were hollow tramplings up and down and muffled voices heard, and shadows passed. Till high above him, circled with her maids, the Lady Lioners at a window stood, beautiful among lights, and waving to him white hands, and courtesy. But when the prince 3 times had blown after long hush at last dashed the huge pavilion slowly yielded up, through those black foldings, that which housed therein. High on a night-black horse, in night-black arms, with white breastbone, and barren ribs of death, and crowned with fleshless laughter some 10 steps dash in the half-light through the dim dawn advanced the monster, and then paused, and spake no word. But Gareth spake and all indignantly, fool, for thou hast, men say, the strength of 10, canst thou not trust the limbs thy God hath given, but must, to make the terror of thee more, trick thyself out in ghastly imageries of that which life hath done with, and the clod, less dull than thou, will hide with mandling flowers as if for pity. But he spake no word, which set the horror higher. A maiden swooned. The Lady Lioners wrung her hands and wept, as doomed to be the bride of night and death. Sir Gareth's head prickled beneath his helm, and even Sir Lancelot through his warm blood felt ice strike, and all that marked him were aghast. At once Sir Lancelot's charger fiercely nighed, and death's dark war horse bounded forward with him. Then those that did not blink the terror, saw that death was cast to ground, and slowly rose. But with one stroke Sir Gareth split the skull. Half fell to right and half to left and lay. Then with a stronger buffet he clove the helm as thoroughly as the skull, and out from this issued the bright face of a blooming boy fresh as a flower new born, and crying, Knight, slay me not, my 3 brethren bade me do it, to make a horror all about the house, and stay the world from Lady Lioners. They never dreamed the passes would be passed. Answered Sir Gareth graciously to one not many a moon his younger, my fair child, what madness made thee challenge the chief knight of Arthur's hall? Fair sir, they bade me do it. They hate the king, and Lancelot, the king's friend, they hoped to slay him somewhere on the stream, they never dreamed the passes could be passed. Then sprang the happier day from underground, and Lady Lioners in her house, with dance and revel and song, made merry over death, as being after all their foolish fears and horrors only proven a blooming boy. So large mirth lived, and Gareth won the quest. Any that told the tale in older times says that Sir Gareth wedded Lioners, but he that told it later, says Lynette,